So here I am with Bill Strong, and I'd like to ask you, what's your background? What's your bio? What would you like people to know about you?
Well, my bio, what I'd like people to know is I've had a very interesting life and worked in a broad number of fields, anywhere from large corporations to small startups, low tech, medium tech, high tech. I've been very blessed. I've been very lucky. I've been married to the same woman for 42 years, two kids that went through the Rose School, live nearby, and have jobs and kids and dogs. They're good kids, and I've been fortunate enough to enjoy Rancho Santa Fe for almost 35 years, and I love this place.
So when did you move here in Rancho Santa Fe, and why?
I moved here in early '87, but I bought property in early '85. I was born and raised L.A., and it was always my goal to get down where life was really good, down in San Diego. So we moved in. I bought property in '85. We moved in '87. I've been involved in following the ranch for very closely since I moved here. I was on the board in 2001 to 2004. I was on the Rancho Santa Fe Community Center in the early 90s. Made a number of proposals about senior housing, maybe a sailing class on the reservoir. That didn't go very far at the time. That was the whole reason why I thought maybe the community center could do it.
It sounds like senior housing is something that you're interested in. Are you still interested in it as a policy issue? Is it still something that you think could be in the future for Rancho Santa Fe?
Yes, it's an issue that comes up. It seems that developers, and I use that term generally, I was a 3-time developer myself, so it seems developers may be exploiting the notion of step-down housing, and how you keep step-down housing from just being more condos is always the issue. It's an issue that comes up from time to time. I'm interested in a solution. There was a clear solution when I was on the board in 15 years ago, and that was there was some property available near the school, and I kind of thought there may be a possibility of some foundation or somebody owning the small units and renting them, never selling them, renting them to covenant members based on a seniority list of how long they'd lived in the covenant, and just live month to month and stay in the community before they move out to La Costa Glen or someplace like that. But I don't know that that's the solution. I do know it's discussed frequently, and changing the covenant plan is something I'm definitely against. I'm very strongly in favor of keeping the residential plan, that is, their 1 acre, 2 acre, and 2.86 acre zones in concentric rings, not modifying that, but maybe there's a place for senior housing at some point. But we have to watch out that it isn't just the explanation for how to market it. Quantum looked like $4 million condos to me.
Yeah, that ended up being shot down, right, by various groups.
And that was a huge increase in density from seven residences to 40 something. The problem with increasing density is that it benefits the people that receive the increased density to the detriment of the neighbors. That's why it's the mission of any director, I believe, to maintain the current densities as planned and as in the PC, and maybe strengthen those protections so that we're not one vote away from losing a vote at the County Board of Supervisors or some other place.
So, in all your years of living here in the ranch, what changes have you seen, positive or negative, have you seen over the years?
Well, the one obvious thing that everyone sees is the traffic. The traffic has definitely increased. That is that has been slow and steady. Now, there have been a lot of positive increases, a lot of positive improvements, and that is we're finally going to solve the connectivity problem with the fiber optic. The utilities and infrastructure was really pretty poor. Most people were on propane, very few people on sewer. That's gradually increased over time. As far as the young people coming to the ranch, I don't know. There's always been successful 40-something-year-olds coming into the ranch. I guess I was one of those some time ago. Fortunately, there are still people of that demographic coming to the ranch. I don't believe the mix has changed terribly much. It's always been difficult for the younger Covenant members to be involved in Rancho Santa Fe Association politics because they're so busy with school, jobs, kids, everything. I'd like to improve that demographic, or the participation of that demographic, by getting them interested in committees if they can. But the overall mix of the Covenant really probably has not changed. There have always been young people. There have always been old people. The primary feature is the people that choose to live here see something attractive, and we have that in common. And we have a 90-year-old brand and an awful lot invested here. I think we have to realize that that's what attracted all of us here. We have that in common, and the best thing about the Covenant is the people that choose to live here.
That's a good segue to this question. What do you personally think is unique about Rancho Santa Fe?
Well, what is unique is the ruralness and the low density, and the plan to keep it that way. It also has historic ties. Now we have a adobe that was built in 1830 something. It's historic. It's one of the, I think it's the second planned community in the state. The ruralness is striking. There are just very few places that have this kind of ruralness and a uniqueness, but still have a lot of amenities such as golf, or a proximity to a metropolitan area, airport, and so on. But no, Rancho is quite unique, and I've lived back east, both suburban Connecticut, Boston, and as a little kid in Virginia, in Norfolk. But I would pick Rancho Santa Fe over Greenwich, Connecticut, any day of the week.
So you were a board member from 2001, 2004. How have you been involved in the association, the community since then?
Got involved with the Finance Committee about a year ago. That's been tremendously interesting. And
Are you on the Finance Committee or just participating?
Yes, Finance Committee has 7 members, one of which is the association treasurer, and the second person is the golf course treasurer, because the golf course is really half of the numbers. So you have 5 open positions. I've had one of those open positions since last July. But it's also indicative of how things are really running quite well now. It really makes sense to have the golf course treasurer there on the committee and the association treasurer there, because that's most of the action. The golf course is obviously a huge asset, $6 million in revenues. It's half of the financial action.
Going forward into the future, what policy issues animate you? What do you think is going to be interesting, going to be important going forward?
Well, the number one issue is our future. I believe firmly we have to focus on the future, focus on major issues. And it's obvious that the Covenant has some serious competition from surrounding areas. We've a little bit lost our luster. I think that is why I'm proposing, whether elected or not, that we form a Rancho 2020 committee to focus on all future issues, take a survey of member attitudes and get people in each age cohort, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, to brainstorm what the issues are, to how to make this place more attractive, more enjoyable, and more valuable. When it comes down to it, our real estate values have not kept pace with California at large, or other areas, or LA, or Bay Area, or anywhere. So we're lagging real estate values. We're suffering a lot of competition. But I'd like to formulate the Rancho 2020 committee to focus on all future issues, which would include infrastructure, as Skip Atkins has proposed, but all future aspects, but it has to be realistic. We have limited resources. We have a lot of money compared to Vista or some other place, but looking at the future, it's got to be with a realistic eye to what we can really change, what we have the power to change as a homeowners association, and the budget. Utility undergrounding always comes up on the list, but some power lines can be up to $2 million a mile to bury. Others are a lot less. So utility undergrounding might be a thing that gets looked at. But the main thing is focus on the future, make this place more attractive, more enjoyable, more valuable than it already is. None of us have much to complain about life in the Covenant when it comes down to it. It's only a question of how much better can we make it.
You mentioned that Rancho Santa Fe has kind of lost its luster a little bit. What did you mean by that?
Well, in a lot of ways, we have serious competition from surrounding developments. For example, Santa Luz, where my daughter lives, has a golf course, has a clubhouse, has a pool, has ruralness, has nice streets, and no traffic, and is closer to downtown San Diego. It's a competitor. For people who don't want to worry about traffic, the bridges. Once you get behind the gates at Bridges, you're virtually in Italy. I mean, so some people like that, and other people might not like the isolation. This golf course is, of course, a lot better than Bridges, but that's friendly competition. But in general, the competitive areas have increased their game. There's no question about the utilities that they have. They can insulate themselves from traffic. We've got some serious competition.
So why are you running?
Well, first thing is I love Rancho Santa Fe. I have for 35 years. The second reason is that the Covenant runs on volunteers. So in general, I'm a volunteer. But I understand, I know the job, I understand the responsibilities, I understand the limitations. I understand that it's a lot of hard work. And I have the time, and I'm knowledgeable in the issues, and I'm essentially offering that to the voters, and hopefully they'll agree that I am worthy of the trust that is required for any single director. You have to care about the place. You have to be aware of all the diverse personalities and the objectives that are quite different of all members. Members have quite a range of varied interests. Some want to be very active and very social, and other people want to stay home and raise flowers and kids. But you have to be respective of all the diverse interests and all the diverse personalities. And maybe it's because I've worked in so many different fields, but I think that I do have that understanding of the Covenant personality, plus a respect for all points of view. I mean, the Covenant's also different because we have 1,950 members, but that means that we're all part owners, and we're all have skin in the game. We're all invested in this place. So all opinions have to be respected. I absolutely believe that the only way to deal with issues is, and it's one of my tenets, that all discussions must be factual, fair, neighborly, wise, and in the best long-term interest of the Rancho Santa Fe Association, all association members. Factual discussion is a good check that all options have been considered. Now, there could be some real harebrained options that are thrown on the table, but that gets decided either by the 7 directors or the members at large. But we have to respect the opinions. And because I was there before, I also noticed a tendency of volunteers that when people come in with suggestions or criticism, and sometimes criticism is warranted, but there's just a tendency, I call it Bortus defensus. You have to take the criticism and suggestions not in a defensive manner, but as somebody who's a part owner who has a point of view that they want to express and know that it's been heard. So all those things, and in thinking about it earnestly for the last 18 or 20 years, makes me kind of a different kind of a candidate, and one I hope that people will decide I'm worthy of the trust required to be elected.